Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm tapping out. I'm out. So F9 tells the story of the family getting back together to trek around the world to stop the long-lost evil super spy that is Dom's brother. Well, it's that time again, everybody. Another Fast and Furious film is upon us. This one has been delayed for just about a year, just like pretty much every movie that we're going to be talking about this year. So it's been long awaited for all of us Fast and Furious fans, of which I am. And as a Fast and Furious fan, I wasn't quite sure where to set my expectations for this film. To set the stage of where I am as a fan, I've liked this franchise since the beginning. I was not crazy about it at first until Fast 5. Fast 5 was the one where I went, holy shit, these movies are awesome. And since then, I've still enjoyed the movies, but I've gotten progressively less enjoyment out of them since Fast 5. As they've gotten dumber and more over the top and more ridiculous, I have enjoyed them less. So in a way, I'm kind of the opposite of most of the fans of this franchise, where I actually hold a little bit more nostalgia for the first 5 films and have gotten progressively less enjoyment out of them since then, where most people you talk to didn't like the films at all until 5 and have loved them more and more as they've gotten dumber. So give that context to everything that I'm about to say in this video, because was not a big fan of this one. I had heard rumblings that this one was going way farther than all the other ones, and some people that even liked the ridiculous stuff was saying, okay, that's too far, I'm out. And I've heard some people say, you know what, that's what I will come to this franchise for. I love how ridiculous this is. So I really didn't know where I was gonna fall in that. My expectations were low from not caring for Fast 8 very much, Fate of the Furious. Walked in, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is possibly the dumbest fucking movie that I have seen since I've been on YouTube. Also, slight warning, I'm probably going to get into slightly spoilerish details. I'm going to be ranting a lot in this video, but to be honest, this isn't really a movie you can spoil. I mean, big, gigantic stunts, a lot of stupid shit. If you expect that, you've been spoiled. That's what this movie has in store for you. So this is your warning if you don't want any details whatsoever, but it's not really a spoiler thing. I mean, it's a Fast and the Furious movie, come on. Starting off with the positives, with a movie like this, with a lot of action, a lot of shooting, a lot of throwing cars, a lot of huge over-the-top stunts, there's a lot of death, there's a lot of people getting creamed, and there were a couple of shots that I thought were pretty cool in the kills, if you will, if you can even call these kills. Like one, for example, Han does involving a mine and a parachute that I actually thought was pretty cool. There were moments like that throughout the film where I was like, hey, yeah, all right, I like that, I like that. And being that we have everybody but Paul Walker in the family back here, there's always some pretty good dynamic back and forth with these characters, namely Tyrese and Tyrese and Ludacris. I was gonna call them by their character names. They have pretty good chemistry, they have pretty good back and forth. There's a couple of lines where Tez is giving Tyrese shit that's pretty funny. They've always been kind of a pair that you want to keep together throughout these movies, and they do that here. So you do get some good family dynamic in this one. And to be honest with you, that's all positive that I have to say about this movie. I have never seen a movie where so much shit happens. There's so much going on screen. There's so many moving colors and explosions and bullets, and be so emotionally numb and so just bored with what I was watching. I was not engaged with one single frame of this movie from start to finish, and it's 2.5 hours long. And the main reason for that is probably the main thing that you're going to hear pretty much anybody bitch about with this movie, whether they liked it or not, is that it is so ridiculous. It is so over the top. It goes so far with trying to just yank your disbelief that you cannot be engaged with any of it, because you realize you're watching a fucking cartoon. There is nothing, there's no shred of reality to anything that is going on in this movie. And the first argument you're gonna hear from people in the comments is, it's a movie, it's a Fast and the Furious movie, that's what you're supposed to go. You're not supposed to go there for realism. Bullshit. You're supposed to have some ties to reality. Yes, these have always been stupid. Yes, there's always been things going on and you're like, bullshit, that would never happen. That dude's fucking insides would have been butter. But when you go so far to where even those movies seem somewhat grounded in retrospect, you have gone way past the point of believability. And there is no point in this movie, call it a shootout, a race, a chase, a fight scene, anything, that you feel any kind of stakes or any kind of investment in, because you know every single person in the family is going to make it out without a fucking scratch. I mean, I can give examples left and right. There's a scene where Tyrese is being chased by people, full armored vehicles chasing him with AK-47s just fucking gunning at him, and he's running in a straight line. There's no zigzags, there's no huge parkour movement, just running, and they don't hit him a single fucking time. Then he ends up in a pit, surrounded by enemies, he grabs a gun and just circles around like that and kills every single one of them, doesn't get a scratch on him. And they try to like poke fun at that in the movie. They try to like have lines of dialogue where it's like, I think we're invincible. What if we're superheroes? And all that does is draw more attention to how stupid it is. It's not clever, it's not subtle, and it's not even to the point where it's like, oh, they're self-aware now. No, you're just excusing yourself for having zero effort whatsoever to put any kind of reality in this fucking movie. There's dudes obliterating entire wooden and steel structures with their head. I mean, fucking Dom gets thrown through a door and then the doorway just obliterates. His neck doesn't even move. There's a guy that's standing up on a truck on the highway and a steel highway sign hits the back of his head and just fucking shatters and he doesn't even move. You're literally watching an Avengers movie at this point. And we've seen a lot of these stunts in the trailer. I mean, you've seen the one where he fucking takes the car and grabs a hold of the rope and swings it across a fucking cavern like Tarzan. You've seen the one where they're driving across the bridge that's collapsing and there's no tension whatsoever, but somehow they're still able to drive up the bridge. We've seen the magnets and all the stupid bullshit that entire sequence brings into it. I spent 95% of this movie with the Omar Epps face.
Are you saying I'm stupid?
No.
Do I look stupid to you?
And the sad part is I can be on board for a movie that's just going for over the top and ridiculous, but you gotta set that up as that is what we're watching. If you're watching something like Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen, where they tell you within the first 5 seconds, this movie is fucking stupid. This is over the top, this is not reality, this is a cartoon on wheels, just have fun with it. And I can go on for that ride. But that was not what this franchise was. And they've been slowly pushing it in that direction, and this time they just shoved it off the fucking cliff. Moving on beyond all of the stunts and all of the ridiculous over-the-top shit, I didn't enjoy the story here either, and I didn't really even enjoy the family being there. I mean, yes, there was a couple of moments, like I said, in the positives where it's like, okay, yeah, that's what I come here for. There's a couple of good dialogue scenes there. But the whole story is that everybody's in retirement, everybody's enjoying life. Dom and Letty, they've got their kid, and everything's peaceful. And then they said, oh, hey guys, we got this message from Kurt Russell that this guy's trying to steal some shit. And then Dom sees that it's his brother that he failed to mention for 8 fucking movies. And they're like, okay, well, let's go back and let's risk our lives again to try to take down this guy that we have no fucking idea who the hell he is. That's the story of this movie. It's a MacGuffin movie. John Cena wants these 2 things so that he can cause warfare, and they want to stop John Cena because family. And the way that they try to make sense of the John Cena character, the way that they try to force him into the lore, if you will, of this franchise, is by spending at least 20 minutes of this film in 5 or 6 segments showing flashbacks to the death of Dom's father. An event of which we have every single detail already from the first film. They have spelled out the origins of this character. They have spelled out the fate of Dom's father all the way back to the first film, and yet they felt necessary to spend a 5th of this movie, a 6th of this movie, showing that. And that choice causes a few problems. First of all, something that this franchise is starting to get a little bit ridiculous with, and that's retconning. They've already clearly established from the first film, and they probably mentioned it a couple of times in the other films, that Dom's father died in an accident on the racetrack. Dom, in a fit of rage, beat the living shit out of the guy that tapped his dad's car and caused the wreck and ended up in prison, and that's how we kicked off this whole criminal enterprise that he had in the first film. Not anymore. Second problem that it poses is that you're showing us something that we already know. So there's absolutely no details in here that we already have clearly established that you're bringing anything new to. You're just inserting some new shit that completely contradicts the story that you've given us 20 years ago, however fucking long ago this movie's been going on. And the third problem is that it creates pacing issues. Now, this movie's already 2.5 hours long, and it's padded to fuck. And then you have this whole flashback segment that you get in chunks throughout the movie, and every single time the movie pauses to go back to this flashback, it totally kills the momentum going on. So even if you are engaged in all the stupid shit going on screen in this film, you're gonna have the brakes slammed on you about 4 or 5 times in the runtime so that we can go back and show more of this flashback of which you already know every single thing that they're going to tell you. And even John Cena's character as a whole, look, I'm on record, I don't have anything against John Cena. I don't really think he's that great of an actor. I mean, he does decent enough in this. He doesn't embarrass himself. He's not like he's standing out like a sore thumb, but I just don't really think he has that much acting talent. So I'm not really that invested in him just right off the riff because of that. His origin, the reason how he's just kind of shoehorned into this franchise is a total jump in the shark moment. But even just beyond that, there's not really anything cool or interesting or unique about him. He's just another muscle guy that's doing racing and jumping and ziplining like every other character in this franchise has been. He adds nothing to the villain side of this. Like, since Jason Statham, we have not had anybody in this franchise that's inserted that feels like a genuine threat. You could argue Charlize Theron in the last movie because she's a great actress and she certainly has a cool aesthetic to her, but they decide to kill that in this movie by shoving her in a glass fucking box for the entire runtime. So that gets wasted. And then the movie doesn't even have the balls to commit to John Cena being a villain. And this is the one thing that I will say is possibly spoilerish, which you should have expected at walking into the movie because that's what all of these fucking movies did. They did it with Jason Statham. You have the movie that for 2 hours straight is hammering into your fucking head with flashbacks and current events and lines of dialogue and just mean-ass looks at each other that you are supposed to hate John Cena. This is the bad Toretto. This is everything that goes against the family. And then on a fucking dime, the movie says, you know what? He's cool.
Did we just become best friends? Yup!
And the only reason you halfway go along with it is because you've gone along with so much bullshit for the past 2 hours that that's not really that much of a stretch. Okay, total character motivation swap. Sure, we'll go along with that. That's not as bad as the swinging car. And how they decide to convey this visually is that Dom has like this fever dream where he physically goes back into the flashback and sees the events and says, you know what, maybe I was a bit of a dick. For somebody that's always talking about family, I didn't even give my brother a chance to say a fucking word. I just assumed the absolute worst possible thing about him, banished him from town, and then never spoke of him again until I saw him on this little digital computer and said, oh yeah, I do have that other family member. Oh, and I could spend another 10 minutes ranting about the explanation they give for why this fucking guy's still alive. It's literally like they held a middle finger up to the audience and said, fuck you guys, you'll believe anything. And the main overarching thing that kills me about this movie, the reason why I really just, I basically hated it, is because as silly as some of the things that have happened in some of the other movies, it still felt like a coherent franchise for the most part. I mean, it went in a weird direction going from street racing to super spy shit, but it's still somewhat held on to reality. At this point, I feel like this film literally has killed the franchise. I feel like whenever you're watching this franchise and you get to this film, it just kind of tarnishes some of the previous enjoyment that you've had, and I have no fucking idea where they're gonna go from here. And you know they're gonna go there. They've already talked about plans for 2 more films. Vin Diesel has already been talking about a Dom origin story, for fuck's sake. Could you be any more vain? Of course we're gonna get another Hobbs and Shaw movie. I mean, we might get 4 or 5 more of these movies before they take a break and decide to reboot the whole damn thing. And I don't know where the hell you're gonna go from here. You've literally went to fucking space now. Where else are you gonna go? You obviously are trying to up yourself every single movie, regardless how ridiculous it gets. Where are you gonna go from here?
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
All in all, guys, if you haven't been able to tell by now, not a fan of this movie whatsoever. This is probably my least favorite of the entire franchise at this point, and it's disappointing. You know, for a franchise that has so much potential to keep going, and they have the easiest job in the world, just make something fun, and they can't even do that right without just splurging bullshit all over the screen and just putting no fucking effort into the writing whatsoever. And it's just, okay, whatever. If you're not gonna try, then I'm not gonna care. So if you're a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise and you love how stupid these things have gotten and you want more, this is the movie for you. But if you've already been kind of gritting your teeth a little bit at the stretch of reality, this movie is gonna kick you right in the nuts. So know who you are, but if you're like me and have already had enough, I'm gonna tell you to skip it. So what do you guys think of F9? Are you a fan of this? Do you love the ridiculousness? Do you think I'm high off my ass and this is the best one of the franchise? Or are you like me and you're going, You killed it. You literally just killed it with one movie. Good job. Let me know your thoughts down below on F9. Please be respectful. If you're a fan of this franchise, understand that I am too. I just did not like this one. Don't be a dick in the comment section trying to tell me how I should go fuck my mother because I don't like this movie that you happen to enjoy. That is the beauty of film fans. We all get something different out of it. I don't know why I have to say that a million times, but I do. Nonetheless, please like and share this video. Hit the subscribe button so that you can check out what is coming. I will be doing a Fast and Furious ranking this Sunday probably, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I also got a really cool sponsorship video coming tomorrow that you guys are really going to enjoy if you're a horror fan. So be sure to click the subscribe button, not miss any of that insanity. Thank you for watching as always, and remember, opinions are like assholes. That doesn't mean you have to be.